Best of r/entitledParents episode 8. Let me introduce you to my favorite EP. Background: I work in alternative provision, which is a teacher for kids who are not able to go to school. It doesn't pay enough, so I do private tutoring in the evenings, usually rich kids who want to do high school entrance exams. This EP had already run afoul of me before the incident in question due to the following. EP: sorry we're late, we had to go to the temple. Me: that's okay, I have another client who goes to temple, so I understand totally. EP: oh, where does he live? Me: just up the road, next to the supermarket. EP: oh, sorry, you must be mistaken. There are no other people from our ethnicity in this area. For the record, her ethnicity are around 30% of the area. Okay then. The issue that came up was around a Valentine's Day trip myself and my partner booked. I point out that EP's son is at a very good school and she wants him to go to a specific high school. EP's son is lovely BTW. Me: okay, in 2 weeks time, I'll have to cancel or reschedule my session with your son. EP: why? Me: I'm going on holiday. EP: that's a bit rude. Don't you think you should have asked me first? Me: I'm happy to arrange another time for the session. EP: no, I don't want another time. I just think you need to ask my permission in future. Me: EP: don't you agree? My son's future is the priority here. Me: EP: do you have anything else booked? Me: yes, in June. EP: let me get my calendar and we'll see if that one's okay. Yes, that's fine, but you'll have to ask another tutor to cover your sessions. Me: EP: so who will you contact to cover? I'll need their details now. In the end, a mate of mine who wanted some extra cash agreed to cover, and EP called her for an hour to explain her son's needs. He doesn't have special educational needs. The whole time my friend was there, she kept telling her how much better a tutor I was than her. I cannot even with her. Thank you. Next. Sorry for the weird formatting, I'm on mobile. My aunt is a very entitled and overall bad person. She married my uncle, a doctor, and ever though she has a job, she almost never works. She is also a shitty mom, favoring her daughter, a hellspawn, over her son. I have so many little stories of her entitled garbage, but this one made me unreasonable mad. So there was recently a holiday in Croatia where we remember our dead relatives, visit graveyards and stuff like that. My and EM's family decided to visit our family in the countryside and go to the cemetery there to leave some candles and flowers. We arrived first, did all our stuff and were preparing to leave when we saw EM's car. Her family got out and after about a minute I approached them to say hi. I'm on pretty good terms with EM's son, aka my cousin. As I came I heard EM's daughter, EC, there is a kitten trapped in the thorny bushes. Me: oh let me see. Basically I got the kitten out quickly, he wasn't very deep in the bushes. After I got him out I placed him on the wall which led to a grassy area. I thought that he might have come from there. EM: okay EC, you can play with the kitten now. Me: what? No, it's a young kitten and he looks scared. Just let him go. EM: oh just let her play for a while. EC then takes the poor cat and starts petting him. Nothing bad, but the kitten clearly didn't enjoy it and he wanted to be let go. Me: seriously, let him go. He's not enjoying this. EM: oh what do you know about cats? I have a cat. A car is gonna run over him sooner or later. At least now he has a purpose. EC is gonna play with him for a bit and then we'll let him go. At this point my sister tried to grab him by force, but EC didn't let her and she didn't want to hurt the kitten by trying anymore. Me: let the damn cat go. EM: Donko, shut up. I'm the adult here. After that I gave up and went back to my family. When we were leaving I saw that they did let the kitten go, but he seemed so terrified and was ready to run off. Thank you. Next. This happened when I was a kid, about 12 or 13 years old. Context: it took me a while to learn to ride a bike, but once I figured it out I was a bit shaky at first. All us neighborhood kids liked to hang out. So one day I was on my bike still getting the hang of it and most of my friends knew it and moved out of my way. There was this new kid we will call NK who was in my direct path and still me be a bit shaky. I was trying to stop on time to hit him. Me: yelling as loud as I can, look out, look out, look out. Everyone else moved except NK and I ran right into him. He fell right to the ground. I get off my bike and see if he is okay. He was crying and then ran off to tell his mom. Not more than 5 minutes later EM comes running out. EM, why did you run into NK and hurt him with your bike? I should go tell your parents on you. Me, it was an accident and I yelled look out 3 times to warn him. EM's attitude changed in a second. EM, oh I am sorry, I will talk to him about this, thank you for being honest. I till this day love taking EMs down a notch or two. Thank you. Next. First of all, it is a long and a horrible story, so apologies in advance. Second, English is not my first language, so pardon any mistake I may make. This happened in August 2017 and involves 2 lengthy lawsuits, one of which lasted 1.5 years and another for almost 2 years. I'm not directly involved in it, as it happened to my sister-in-law. Back in 2017, my sister-in-law, Sil for short, was in her final year for nursing school. She was required to intern as trainee nurse for 6 months. She chose to join a private school for her internship. It was one of those international private schools where kids of ultra-rich parents go. Part 1. The incident. 15th of August is India's Independence Day, and there was a celebration in the school. It was your usual flag ceremony with flag march by students and student band, some plays by student depicting events of freedom movement, some cultural exhibition put together by each class, food and game stalls by teacher, etc. At the end of the day, top 3 class performances, plays and cultural exhibition, were awarded, and select students were given Certificate of Excellence for outstanding performances. Everything was going normal in the beginning, but a student collapsed during the parade, so he was brought in the doctor's office. Doctor checked him and found that he was running moderate fever. He was also slightly dehydrated. So the doctor gave him some medicines, asked my Sil to give him a glass of glucose water. He scolded the kid for participating in the parade while in fever and wrote him a note excusing him from any further activity. He then asked the kid if his parents were present, and the kid said that his mother was there. So doctor told him he could go home if he wanted, or he could sit in shade with his mother to watch the rest of the ceremony. The kid asked if he could just stay there and rest for a while, so the doctor said that he could use one of the beds to take a nap. Since there was nothing else to do in the office, the doctor excused himself to go and have something to eat from the stalls, leaving my Sil and a janitor in the office. Hardly 5 minutes later, the mother, EM, marched in the office and went directly to check on her child. My Sil tried to tell her that the kid was running a fever and taking a nap, but EM ignored her. She shook the kid and asked him how was he feeling. The kid said, fine. EM said, good, now get up, you gotta get ready for your play, sweetie, everyone else is already dressed up. My Sil again tried to explain, he is running a fever, he wants to rest. EM replied, oh it's fine, he is fine, aren't you sweetie? The kid just looked at my Sil. Sil said, the doctor has excused him from other activities. It would be better if you just take him home and let him rest. EM said, it is just a play, I'm sure my sweetie can handle it. He is a tough man. Isn't that right sweetie? Sil tried again, it would be better for him to just rest. He is still under fever. And with that EM lost her mind. She screamed to my Sil's face, oh, you know what's better for him? I'm his mother, I know what's best for him. How dare you? My son is the topper of his class. He is playing the most important part in the play. He is the best. If he doesn't participate in the play, he will not get the Certificate of Excellence. He needs to stay at the top of everything or else he'll become a laughingstock. So don't you dare tell me what's better for him. The kid, seeing his mother losing her mind, stood up and said to my Sil with a smile, it's okay sister, I'm fine. Thanks for caring for me. Shocked and stunned, my Sil only managed to say, let me call the doctor. EM retorted, I come from a family of doctors. My father is the director of a well-known private hospital. You people aren't even qualified enough to work in a hospital. Huff. She grabbed the arm of her child and marched away. My Sil called the doctor, who said, well it's a child, what can we do? We did our part. About an hour later, the same kid was rushed in again, as he again collapsed during the play. The doctor checked on him, gave him an injection and asked him to be transferred to a hospital immediately as the kid was unconscious and not responding. An ambulance was called and kid was taken to the hospital. The day ended without any other incident. 2 days later the school learned that the kid passed away in the hospital. My sil was distraught upon hearing the news. She kept crying for rest of the day. She kept saying how it was her fault, and how she could have prevented it if she stood her ground. How the kid smiled at her and thanked her for caring for him. We told her that it wasn't her fault, and consoled her to the best of our abilities. Even her professor from nursing school came and tried to make her feel better. About a week later, she was informed that the school was opening an inquiry and a board of inquiry will look into the matter and that she will be called for interview. The doctor assured her that it was just a formality for school to cover all the bases, and she didn't need to worry about it. In her interview she stated everything that happened. She was then asked why she felt it was her fault, as she said so to the class teacher of the kid in her crying fit. She explained that at the time she was overwhelmed by emotions and thought she could have done things differently. She was asked if there was anyone who will corroborate her story and she named the janitor who was present in the office at the time. She was then informed that she was placed under suspension until the inquiry concludes. When she went back to collect her things from the office, Doctor once again assured her that there was nothing to worry about. He will make sure that no harm will come to her. Few days later, she received a letter from the school that they concluded the investigation and found her guilty of negligence and thus her contract was terminated. She called the school supervisor who informed her that her story did not match the story told by the doctor and the janitor, thus there was nothing that can be done. Termination of contract meant that she couldn't complete her final term on time, so she put the application for extension to the nursing school. She thought it was over, but boy were we in for a bomb dropped on us. Part 2. The legal trouble. A few days later, 2 cops knocked on the door of my father-in-law and asked to speak to my sil. They informed them that the family of the kid filed an first incident report against my sil. They accused her to cause the death of the kid. They asked if they can question her, but my father-in-law denied and told them they can only question her in the presence of a lawyer. So the cop asked her to come to police station the next day for the questioning. We got the lawyer immediately, who at first called the cops and asked for a later date to be set for the question. Then he told us to get an anticipatory bail ASAP, in case police decides to arrest her, so we did. In the questioning the lawyer talked for the most part. He provided them with a written statement of my sil. The police asked their questions, and directed my sil to not leave the state without informing them first etc etc. Few more days go by, and she received a summons from the court as the state decided to try her for the crime. The lawyer suggested to track down and speak to the janitor, as he was the only witness in the otherwise, she said, case. And so we did. The janitor was reluctant to talk at first, but after my sil begged him, he told us that the doctor told him that if he told the truth, he will be admitting to the same mistake that Nurse Dylan will be fired for sure, and the only way to save himself was to tell the story that doctor was telling him. The story doctor told to the school's board of inquiry was that doctor had the kid under observation with the strict instruction that he would not be released under any circumstance, and that my sil released the kid without asking or informing him. We asked him to testify in the court, which at first he refused but later agreed with a bit of persuasion. Once we had janitor on our side, the lawyer also filed a case of wrongful termination against the school, accusing the inquiry to be partial and biased. Once the court hearing started, we learned that the EM told white lies to the father of the kid. She never told him that she forced the kid to perform in the play. Instead she said the kid wanted to play his part. She also hid the fact that nurse objected, and showed her the doctor's note. Her story was that the kid wanted to participate in the play, and when she asked the nurse said everything was fine and he could play his part. The case went on for a year and a half. Janitor provided his testimony, which the prosecution tried to discredit, saying that he told a different story during school inquiry, so he was not a reliable witness. But the judge refused, taking note that the doctor tried to intimidate him, and in turn asked the prosecution if they investigated the doctor's part in the incident as to why he forced janitor to lie and why was he not present during his duty hours. When prosecution replied in negative, the judge asked police to file a case against the school doctor. During her stand, My sil got very emotional and started crying as she recounted the events of that entire day. The only witness prosecution had was child's mother, who couldn't keep her story straight during cross-questioning. Finally, in the judgment, court ruled in my sil's favor, noting that prosecution's witness had massive holes in her story while defendant provided a solid witness. He also noted that even if prosecution was to be believed, defendant, being only a trainee nurse, wasn't even qualified to release the student, and by taking the kid away without a doctor's expressed opinion, the responsibility of consequences fell on the mother of the child. He also commented on school's mismanagement. By not having a fully qualified nurse, they were in violation of federal laws. He scolded the prosecution for having a tunnel vision and going after defendant, who was obviously innocent and a vulnerable young girl herself. After the court ruled in our favor, the school decided to settle a wrongful termination case. It was finalized last month and we can finally put it all behind us. However, due to all the emotional distress and trauma, my sis-in-law decided to drop out of nursing school, thus ending her dreams of becoming a nurse. She will probably join an honors course next year, but right now she is still troubled with the nightmares of going to jail and needs therapy to get over it. The police has opened a fresh case against the doctor who was let go from the school this year. He is also being investigated by State's Medical Association for wrongdoings. If found guilty, he will be barred from practice. We have no information on EM or her husband. Edit. Thank you kindly, the generous redditor, for my first gold. Although I'm not sure if I deserve it, after all this is the story of my sister-in-law. Thank you again. Edit 2. While this blew up, I was not expecting it to get as much attention, given the horribleness of the story. Thank you for all the support and love you have given. Kind redditors who gave me platinum, gold and silver, thank you for your generosity. And finally, to all the people who are looking/searching for news reports or asking for one. As I said in one of the comments, it did make to local news, but I will not provide any link, or give even a remotely identifying detail, because the information in the news can be used to track and dox my sil. She already had a lot of shit to deal with, many of her peers just assuming her guilt. She is having a lot of trouble dealing with the fallout of this entire episode. She is afraid of even stepping out of the house and she is having frequent nightmares of going to jail. I really do not care whether you believe this story or not, but do not ask me which state it took place or any other detail. I purposefully kept the details in the story as vague as possible. Hope you understand. Thank you once again. Thank you. Next. Sorry if my English is bad. I am Ukrainian. So this happened some weeks ago. We wanted to go to McDonald's, and we did. We ordered some food, and there was a lot of people, so it was hard to find a seat. 1 minute later, we found a seat. We sat, and I saw somebody angrily going to us. I knew it was bad. EP, oh my god. How dare Tao take our seat? Me. We took the seats first. EP, no we did. Give us the seat, or else. She was screaming so loud. Almost everyone heard that. An employee came to us. Sorry, mom. I saw them taking the seat for EP. No, Lyra. My angel came and sat there. Me. The chicken stood up. The place disappeared. Some people say that in Ukraine. Please, mom. Leave them alone. Or we will ban you from here. EP. You can ban me. Right. You can ban me. She is also a psycho. You know what the employee did? Right? Ban them. Thank you. Next. So I'm not sure if this lady would be considered entitled, so I hope this is okay. I was at a ski lodge in Canada, fairly busy and a long line to the lifts. I was waiting for my friend who was still getting their boots on when I saw a lady who looked more like a grandmother than a mother now that I think about it. I thought she was waiting for a skier, perhaps a friend or her husband, but then I see a little girl heading very cautiously down a big slope. She looked to be about 8. And what made it worse was that she was alone. So she spots the lady and kinda walked up in a snowshoeing motion. This lady pulled the skis off her boots, almost breaking them, throws them on the ground and proceeds to stomp on them repeatedly and very aggressively. That did the job. They looked totaled. After all that ski abuse, she yells at the kid in a language I couldn't understand and proceeds to return the skis to the rental shop. She's 8 lady, not an Olympic skier. Thank you. Next. Apologies in advance for the weird format. I'm on mobile. When I was 16, I was working part-time at the shoe store, Journeys. I had my hair dyed pink and cut in a cliché butch lesbian style. I'm bisexual. It was mid-December, so the Christmas rush was in full swing. The store was pretty busy, so I was running around assisting customers. In walks entitled Mom, EM, and her spawn. This woman is tall, blonde, obviously fake tanned, and her child, around 13-14 years old, is the same. I walk up to them and greet them, as expected for employees. Me, hi, welcome to Journeys. Is there anything in particular you're looking for? This woman looks me up and down, mentally picking me apart. I felt like a bug about to be crushed by her shoe. I'm used to rude customers, so I ignore it. EM, my daughter is looking to buy some pairs of Ugg boots as early Christmas presents. I assume that your store has them. I'm elated. I worked on commission, and Ugg boots were some of the most expensive shoes in our store. I thought I had hit the mother lode. I guide her over to the wall that had Ugg boots. I tell her my name and tell her to let me know if her spawn wants to try anything on. I begin to walk away to check on another one of my customers. Suddenly, I feel cold, spindly fingers grab the back of my shirt and jerk me back. I yelp and turn back to see the spawn glaring at me. Me, please let go of my shirt. Spawn, I want to try all of the Uggs in a size 7. She let go of my shirt, so I was relieved about that. I figured if she tried anything else, I'd let my manager know. At that point, I had the giant order of getting every Ugg boot style. I run in the back of the store and search for as many size 7 boots as possible. Since size 7 is a common size, and 2016 was a popular year for Uggs, we were missing quite a few styles. I shrugged and brought out 6 boxes. The balancing skills were real. I bring them out to the spawn and EM. The spawn looked over the shoes, and her face scrunched up in anger. Spawn, Mom, this homophobic slur didn't get me the pair that I liked. I didn't even have time to process the fact that I'd just been called a F before EM was up in my face. EM, my daughter told you to get one of every style. Are you deaf as well as dumb? I start to stutter. I have severe social anxiety and sensory processing disorder. I was quickly getting overwhelmed. I do my best to explain that a lot of our sizes were sold out since the style was popular. I offered to order it online for her so she could pick it up at the store in a few weeks. EM, no, you just missed the pair. Go back and bring them out for my daughter or I'm going to tell your manager. I sprinted to the back, asking my co-worker to help the rest of the customers I'd been helping before the bitchy whirlwind entered the store. I double-checked and came back out to see my co-worker being hounded by EM and Spawn. My co-worker gestured for me to get over there. EM, why are you bringing her back? I came to you so that I wouldn't have to deal with that stupid homophobic slur. My co-worker walked away and told me that she was getting our manager. EM, did you find the shoes? Me, no mom. Like I said, we're out of stock. Before EM could explode, my manager, a reserved gay man, walked up to us. Manager, what seems to be the problem, ladies? EM, this bitch told my daughter that she wanted to have sex with her, and she's not getting us the shoes that we want. If you don't fire her, then we're going to call the police and file for sexual harassment. My manager was obviously taken aback. He'd seen me with my, now ex-girlfriend, and knew that I would never say something like that, especially to a customer. Manager, I'm sorry to hear that you're unhappy with your service. However, I know my employee, and I don't believe that she'd try to flirt with your daughter. I can go back and check to see if we have your size, though. He went back, dragging me with him. Manager, what actually happened? I explained everything. We went and triple checked the stock, and lo and behold, there were none in her size. I stayed in the back while my manager broke the news to the wicked witches. From the back room, I could hear EM shriek, EM, that F probably hid it. How dare you take her side? I'm the customer. I pay your bills. I peeked out. Most of the customers had either cleared out or stopped what they were doing to watch. My manager, somehow keeping his cool through all of this, explained. Manager, look mom, we don't have your size in the boots you were interested in. We can suggest different styles or order the boots online. However, if you keep calling my employee bad names, I'll have to ask you to leave. The woman bristled and looked ready to throw hands with my manager. Her spawn stepped in, however, and requested to buy 2 different pairs of boots that I'd already brought out. Well, you heard her, and I expect these to be 50% off for our troubles. By this point, my manager looked so done. Manager, look mom, I can give you a 5% discount, but anything more would be against company policy. Fine. But I expect you to fire that sort of an employee you have. My manager didn't even respond and just rang the 2 up. He put the sale on my account so I got the commission for it, which I was really grateful for. The 2 left and the store went back to the way it was. My manager bought me some Wetzel Pizzelles as compensation. I never saw those 2 again, and I am very grateful for that.